The Nintendo Switch continues to be going strong as we enter its 5th year. What has helped the Switch stay strong isn't just a solid first-party lineup, but also strong third-party support. Every time I think the Switch is slowing down, a bunch of interesting games get released on it. So in this video, I want to talk about the interesting Switch games coming out in March. Now, this is not everything that's coming to the system that month. Some games don't get listed in the Coming Soon page, other games get shadow drops, and still others are only put up on the shop on their release date. This is also going to include games I myself probably won't play, but I think are interesting nevertheless. Post-apocalyptic games. The beginning of March is seeing a trio of post-apocalyptic games, each one different than the previous one. The first one is Far Changing Tides. Now, Far is this Far is a sequel to the previous Far Lone Sails. In Changing Tides, you're swapping sun-scorched dusty plains for stormy skies and high seas. You'll have new environments, puzzles, and ship mechanics, bringing an exciting experience to fans and new players alike. Now, I myself have never played Far. I heard that it was pretty good, kind of short, but I have not heard anything about it. I've never played it. So seeing that Far is getting a sequel is pretty exciting, especially if you're a fan of it. It does come out on the 1st of March. This is a post-apocalyptic story about two travelers who set out on a long journey across the wasteland after they are left behind after the pandemic. The disaster destroyed much of the world's population, the infrastructure went wrong, and the common life remained only in memories. This is an adventure game which lets you explore in more detail a number of interesting locations in a post-apocalyptic Russia, filled with a variety of items and secrets. During the journey, you will collect supplies, solve quests, and move forward on the plot. So, from what I can gather from it, it sounds more like it is it's an adventure game. It's more of like maybe a little open world, but probably more linear. 35mm comes out on the 2nd of March. Also coming out on the 2nd of March, Primordial is a traditional point-and-click adventure game that has you playing as two androids as they spend their time studying this book, the Book of Man, and trying to find out what happened to humans, what fate awaits the mechanical inheritors, and it promises that the answer will depend on the path you take and the choices you make. I like how point-and-click adventures are starting to come back and are starting to become more popular again. I'm also like how they are foregoing the more crazy aspects of the genre. The newest 8D 2D adventure from Square Enix, Triangle Strategy, is a tactical game where you command a group of warriors and you are part of this tangled plot where your decisions will change the outcome. Notice that most games always have that, decisions will make the outcome. I played the demo, and it actually is surprisingly kind of difficult for being it looks like this game is more for people who have played turn-based tactical games or turn-based strategy games, like your Final Fantasy Tactics. That's another thing it also really reminds me of. It looks to be very interesting. With each decision you make, it will bolster one of 3 convictions: utility, morality, or liberty. And together you can influence the worldview and who will join you and lend your talents to your army. Each party member has a range of distinct skills, so consider which convictions might attract certain characters. And they encourage you to play through the game multiple times to see how other choices impact the adventure. Triangle Strategy comes out on the 4th of March. Another game by Square Enix coming out on the 10th of March is Chocobo Gp. So Chocobo GP is their racing game, basically. It's basically their Mario Kart. And there's going to be 2 versions actually released with it. There's going to be the regular version, and then there's going to be the light version. The light version is free to play, and it will allow you to learn the basics in story mode, take on all comers in the game, in the different game modes that it offers. The unique selling point for Chocobo GP is that it's Final Fantasy Mario Kart. It's going to have classic magic spells like fire and arrow to blast the competition. Each character is going to have a unique ability that will allow them to turn the tide of the race. It looks interesting. I'm very curious about it. I will definitely be getting the light version first to kind of see, since Mario Kart, there's been a lot of Mario Kart competitors throughout the years, but none of them have really been as good as Mario Kart. Anime games. The Switch is no stranger to anime games. You have stuff like Dragon Ball Z Fighters, you have the Naruto trilogy, you have One Piece, you have My Hero Academia. You also have other 2D anime fighters, and the most recent one that's coming out is called Phantom Breaker Omnia. It's an upgrade. It's an upgraded version of Phantom Breaker Extra, and this one's going to include 2 guest characters in it. Darkness wraps itself around me, a looming, lingering shadow, as well as 2 brand new characters created specifically for this game, bringing our total up to 20 characters. You can choose 3 different fighting styles, and it just has a variety of different things, like a modern remix soundtrack, a dual language audio. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I never even heard of Phantom Breakers. I know of Mages, the one who makes this, but I know them from Steins Gate. So this may be an interesting game to take a look into, especially if you like the more arcadey 2D one-on-one fighters that I know are fairly popular. And so, yeah, just something to kind of think about. Phantom Breaker Omnia comes out the 15th of March. Shifting gears away from fighting, we now have The Cruel King and the Great Hero. This is an RPG, and in it you join an intrepid girl on her many adventures as she strives to become a hero with the help of her mighty dragon protector. It has a very unique storyboard look that we've seen in a couple other games, but I think it might be interesting. It might be, especially with like the fairy tale. I don't know, the gameplay looks kind of traditional, I guess you could say, but the hand-drawn animation does look really cool. The Cruel King and the Great Hero also comes out the 15th of March. Galgun Double Peace is also coming to the Switch, and I'm just going to leave that there. Another fairly popular aspect of the Switch is the variety of games you can play. And I've noticed that board games, word games have also managed to become popular on the Switch. Now, I myself own 51 word games, and I also own a puzzle game. And both are pretty fun. The puzzle game is kind of generic, but it's still really fun. So, number 1 Pastime Bundle, releasing on the 18th of March, is going to come with 3 games. It's going to come with number 1 Crosswords, number 1 Anagrams, and number 1 Sudokus. So with the Crosswords, you're going to have 100 crossword puzzles to solve for all difficulty levels. And then on top of that, you can always play the daily crossword. There is the number 1 Anagrams, which is just that, figuring out anagrams. And then you have 240 Sudoku puzzles in number 1 Sudokus, as well as the daily Sudoku. At $8, that's a pretty good deal, I feel like, especially if you like word games. With Slide Stories, Niko's Journey, it is a relaxing and charming slide puzzle with graphic novel elements. So the story is you are a cat, Niko, who travels with its owner, Nina, to lovely places. It does come with 6 stunning and original hand-drawn animations to assemble, 5 levels of difficulty, and 3 tools to help you out in solving the puzzles. It looks if you are one of those people that really love sliding puzzles, it may be fun. It is only $2.99 USD, so that may not be too bad for what you're getting, and then maybe you may be wanting more for that. Slide Stories Niko's Journey comes out on the 10th of March. A very popular game series, the Rune Factory, is getting its 5th entry. So, I don't know. I know about Rune Factory. I know Rune Factory is Harvest Moon with combat. So in this version, you are going to the sleepy border town of Wigboth, where mysterious events are unfolding, affecting the runes that govern the balance between humanity and nature. You are the newest ranger for the peacekeeping organization Seed, who protects the frontier town from rowdy monsters. When you're not on a mission, you work with the people of Wigboth to help the town flourish through farming, festivals, and friendship. It promises fast-paced action RPG combat, fantasy farming taken to new heights, relaxing in your new home, and always find your special someone. Rune Factory 5 is also getting a digital deluxe edition, which is going to come with the Rune Factory 4 Marriage Candidates outfit set. Dress up as your favorite character from the much-loved Rune Factory 4 with 13 additional outfits to wear in Rune Factory 5. Whether or not you should get the digital deluxe or the regular version, that'll be if you think an outfit set is worth an extra $10. Rune Factory 5 comes out the 22nd of March. But the big game coming out for March, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, is going to be a 3D platform adventure for Kirby. I'm pretty sure Kirby has never had a 3D adventure at all. So, at least not like this. Every game that he's had has always been flat. And we've seen it in the Direct. You'll explore in 3D stages as you discover a mysterious world with abandoned structures from a past civilization. You can copy enemies' abilities, you can upgrade the abilities, and you can partake in the mouthful mode. Why get one drink from a vending machine when you can swallow the whole thing? You can also play in co-op with Bandana Waddle Dee, and it looks like Kirby and the Forgotten Land is shaping up to be a pretty impressive, what people would say, open world. I would call a large level. I think it's following more the Mario Odyssey approach than the Breath of the Wild approach. But Kirby and the Forgotten Land comes out the 25th of March. Nintendo has recently been releasing a new 64 game every month. First, it was Paper Mario in December. Then it was Banjo-Kazooie in January. And recently, it was Majora's Mask in February. At the time of this recording, Nintendo hasn't revealed what March's 64 game is, if there is one. From looking at the trailer for the N64 on the Switch, I think the 64 game for March will be Kirby 64. It'll come out on the 25th of March, and it'll come out on the same day as Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It is a great way to remember Kirby, and it's a great way to... You have two great Kirby games coming out on the same day. First, Kirby's newest 3D adventure, and Kirby's first 3D adventure. I want to thank you for joining me as we took a look at the most interesting games coming out in March for the Switch. Now, next month in April, we have some pretty heavy hitters coming to the Switch. I hope you join me when we take a look at the most interesting games coming in April.